Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, delighted to be back and also to be in the company of 3 fine judges in the shape of Paul Keeley and David Jennings from the Racing Post and Frank the Tank Hickey from Paddy Power. The lads have been studying hard and have hopefully got all the value bets for a great weekend, which features the rerun, well not the rerunning, but the second attempt to run the Coral Welsh Grand National at Chepstow. Also, the Coral Future Champions as juvenile hurdles been rescued from the original card, which was, of course, abandoned just after Christmas. Got some good stuff at Sandown. Wincanton is an orgy of ITV4 races. I think they're televising 10 races. We've also got Lingfield, Cork and Kempton. And then on Sunday, there's a decent hurdle at Naas, plus some good racing at Plumpton and Newcastle. It's been chucking it down with rain. So heavy ground is the order of the day. I think heavy is the ground description absolutely everywhere except the all-weather tracks. Keels, before we get stuck in, are we confident that everything's going to survive?
Well, it looked that way because Chepstow said they only had 1.5 millimetres overnight Thursday. There's no rain forecast from now on, so it should be fine. It's going to get cold, so it's going to get really sticky, I'd have thought.
And the beauty here then is that at least if it's off, it's unraceable, and if it's on, it's just going to be bottomless.
Yeah, if it's
so
on,
we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, let's get stuck in then to the feature race. Like I say, it's the 205 at Chepstow. It's the Coral Welsh National. And Frank, take us away with the show of Paddy Power betting, if you would.
Yeah, Mystery is our favourite at 7-1. Beware the Bear, Chase the Spud, Wild West Wind are 8-1. Vintage Clouds 9-1. Final Nudge, Ask the Weatherman 10-1. Pobbles Bay, Bishop's Road, Milan's Bar 12-1, and we're 14-1 bar. And we're I think we're going to be 5 places on this as well.
Excellent news. Keels, who's going to win it?
Don't know. It's one of those races, you know.
DJ?
No. You've got 20 runners. You know that half at the very most will finish the race. It's all going to be about rhythm. You make a mistake at a fence there and get stopped in your track, you've got to pick yourself up.
Is there a couple of fences going to be left out, isn't there?
I don't know. I didn't read about that, but it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world. But it's going to be hard work. And we've got a favourite, Mr. E, who goes well fresh, but running in one of the most gruelling races of the season, and one that hasn't been won for at least 40 years by a horse first time out. So, you know, good luck to those of you if you want to back Mr. E. But even though he does go well fresh, I couldn't back him. One I've landed on now is Pobbles Bay, who I thought he won over Christmas in 2016 in a novice chase there at Chepstow. It just looks like he's been laid out for the race. He ran over 2.5 mile at Aintree, made a mistake earlier, never really got in the race. But I think he likes really bad ground. He was second to Flintham in a 3 mile 2 furlong heavy ground Warwick battle over hurdles a couple of years ago. And I think he'll go well. I'm becoming interested in Milan's Bar, who was third to Wild West Wind at the course last time and was running on really strongly at the death. He's a real stayer. I think he's been second in the Midlands National to Firebird Flyer, another one who sneaked in at the bottom and was second a couple of years ago. He interests me. If you take jockeys into account, he's £7 better off for 2 3/4 lengths, and he's the horse that was really finishing. So there'd be my 2 against the field. But you know, even money that both of them will get round.
And you'd have to expect that Paul's Bay's jockey will absolutely make sure that he knows if there are any fences missing, Adam Wedge, he's not going to get caught out this
absolutely.
time,
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying, 21 days is a lot, isn't it? You know?
I think 21 days for missing out a fence when they've been dolling them off and blocking them off for either sun or wet, compared to a guy riding and finish a lap early only getting 12.
Yeah,
that doesn't
in a
seem,
flat race, it just
doesn't make
sense, does it?
Seem right to me.
You need some consistency, don't you?
Absolutely.
And,
DJ, what's your view of the Coral Welsh National?
Yeah, that was an absolute disgrace, an absolute disgrace. But anyway, but when this race was obviously supposed to be on the 27th of December, I had a real quandary because there was I could only see 2 horses winning the race, and they were Rock the Casbah and Mystery. And I suppose I was devastated that Rock the Casbah wasn't declared that he would have been my first choice. But
yeah, it would have been mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought he'd a touch of class. But now that he's gone, Frank is going to hate me here because I'm going to steal his thunder. But I'm really keen on Mystery here. I know Paul has rightly said it's going to be very hard to win this race first time out. But you have to look at the flip side of that. Is he won first time out in 2013. He won first time out the following season by 32 lengths at Wetherby. He won first time out in 2016 at Haydock. He won the Eider after 7 weeks off. He's won twice on heavy and 3 times on soft. He's only £5 higher than when he was second in the Midlands National. Chase Spud is £19 higher. And he's been trained for the race. Michael Scudamore was out of form, but he had a winner over Christmas. I just think it all collaborates together, and it's going to take some performance to beat Mr. E.
Okay, and Frank, is that chime with what you say as well?
It's very much so. He stole my thunder. But some stats I wanted to give in this race. In the last 10 years, only 3 horses have carried more than 11 stone. And they were Native River, who carried top weight, who was subsequently placed at a Gold Cup. Synchronized carried 11 stone 6, won a Gold Cup. And Notre Pierre carried 11 stone in 2008. And he won a Grade 1 at Punchestown afterwards. So it'll give you some kind of insight into what kind of horse you need to carry a large weight in this race. You need a graded horse. And looking at the field and the horses carrying over 11 stone, I'd be almost shocked if any of them are graded, Grade 1 winners in waiting. So for that reason, I came to Mystery. He was my fancy in the original race. I can't see any reason to abandon him. I think if you fancy Chase the Spud, you have to have a look at Mystery. And I'll give you the reason why. First time out for Mick Scudamore last November in Haydock. He beat Chase the Spud 1.5 lengths, but on that occasion, I think he was getting £10. He ended up getting beaten by him at Uttoxeter in the Midlands National. He beat him by 3.5 lengths in Haydock, but then in the Midlands National, he was beaten 1.5 lengths, but he was giving Chase the Spud £3 that day. Now he's getting £10 off Chase the Spud. I think he's absolutely nailed on to finish the race and to give it a good lash. He's got Robbie Dunn, who's one of the informed jockeys for this type of race on board, and I can't see him not going close. He's an ideal type for this race. He carries 10 stone 13, so he's underneath the 11 stone bracket. And then one of the big price I thought would go well was Alfie Spinner for Kerry Lee. He ran that trial that Paul was mentioned earlier behind Wild West Wind with Milan's Baron third. He was running on strongly as well that day. It looked like he'd really appreciate the extra trip that he's going to get here. He relishes the testing going. Richard Patrick claims £5 off. Richard Johnson wrote on the last day. Kerry Lee, of course, the family have a tremendous record in the race, winning it 3 times, twice with the dad Richard and once with Kerry. I think he's a 25-1, and he's a horse I could easily see running into a place.
And
but it's
Frank, will you be having a small bet, a medium-sized bet, or a big bet on Mystery?
I suppose relatively somewhere about medium. It won't be like Coney Island or something kind of lump job, but it'll be a decent bet at the same time, and I'll have a small bit each way in Alfie Spinner. They'll be playing with 5 places. I think he's got a great chance of placing, and 25-1 is more than fair price. Richard Patrick as well is 21% for Kerry Lee, which is actually quite a good strike rate for a claimer like that. So I think he's sure to run a decent race as well at a decent price. And
talking about Coney Island, I haven't spoke to you since before Christmas. That cookie has crumbled very nicely for us, hasn't it? We're looking good there, aren't we?
It's roll on the Gold Cup now at this stage. It's all really working out. Even if you look at Annabelle Fly winning the Paddy Power and Road to Respect winning the Leopardstown Chase, they were both behind him in the Drinmore. And to be honest, I'm very excited. I've talked to someone who knows the Harties, and they're very excited. And Gold Cup can't come quick enough, in my opinion.
Excellent. Well, before that, we've got the 135 at Chepstow on Saturday. It's the Coral Future Champions Finale Juvenile Hurdler a race that's been won in the last 3 years by Bristol Demai and Defi de Soy. And we've got a potentially very smart horse here, and We Have a Dream, who's third favourite with Paddy Power for the Triumph Hurdle. And he's a fairly strong favourite for this, Frank, isn't he?
He is indeed. He's 4-5. Sussex Rangers 3-1. Famous Millie 5-1. Mercenaire 13-2, and Staff College is 100-1.
And we'll stick with you, Frank. Penalty kick for the Fav?
He should win. He's definitely the horse with most ability. He's been very impressive in 2 runs so far. My one worry would be his 2 runs to date at Warwick and Doncaster were on good to soft ground. Now it's going to be absolutely awful here in Chepstow tomorrow. It would be the one concern I have. He's run on soft ground in France, but he didn't win any of those 3 races, so it'd just be a slight concern. But he's definitely the horse with most ability. As a betting proposition of 4-5, he probably wouldn't be for me, Bruce.
So you'll watch this one, will you? Oh, you might have a bet, yeah?
If I was going to have a bet, the only thing I know is that Nicky Henderson, surprisingly enough, for the wealth of talent talented juveniles he's had, hasn't won this race in the last 10 years. He hasn't had too many runners now, but I think it's because he doesn't really have those kind of slogger type juveniles. They're more of a classy speedier types, and maybe this race is more of a slog. And for that reason, Nick Williams is the exact opposite, where he's won this race a couple of times in the last 10 years, and he doesn't throw too many darts at the race either. And his Mercenaire, while it didn't beat much the first day at Exeter, it did win by 25 lengths on soft ground, and it just kept going. It has plenty of find with the Fav, but as a token bet, he'd probably want to have a small bit on, or perhaps even just bet in the without market. I think the Sussex Ranger is very much overhyped. The Sandown race was a load of shite, if you ask me. The second, Côte Taquan or something, was well beaten in a very poor race at Fontwell subsequently, and I would fancy the Nick Williams horse to beat that. But we have a dream. If he can win in heavy ground, he's a live player in the Triumph, because he looks really good.
OK, Mercenaire is 13-2 with Paddy Power. DJ, have you got a strong view on this one?
I kind of do. I'm going to say something that I never thought I'd ever say in my life, but I think Robbie Dunn might be able to win the two big races, including a Grade 1. He's riding Famous Millie for Gavin Cromwell here. I actually spoke to Gavin at Leopardstown after Chepstow was called off over Christmas, and I said, are you happy or sad that it's called off? And he goes, no, for two reasons I'm delighted. He said, I needed to get one more good gallop into Famous Millie. She was just a gallop short. And he said that hopefully it'll rain even more and it'll be even more bottomless by the time the race comes around, because this filly just wants it absolutely unraceable, and that's what it's going to be tomorrow. Like, she won on heavy ground at Listowel, and Listowel's heavy ground is completely different to any ground anywhere in the world. It's far worse than Chepstow is going to be tomorrow. She's going to handle this. You go into her Aintree success where she beat Malaya by 17 lengths, and you kind of say to yourself, do you know what, that was a shocking race, and it kind of fell apart. But when you actually go through the form, Grey Waters was hammered, was finished beaten 158 lengths. Grey Waters came out in the Grade 2 at Leopardstown over Christmas, only beaten 7 lengths by a Sport de Len. So the form of that race mightn't be as bad as we thought at the time. And she absolutely destroyed them. She just loves that ground. I can't believe she's 5-1. She mightn't be just as classy as We Have a Dream, but she's certainly the second best horse in the race. So perhaps people should maybe back her without, but there's no way she should be 5-1, and she will certainly swim through that mud.
OK, the boys are keen to take on the Jolly Kills. What's your approach?
Yeah, I'm keen to take it on, and I think there's probably at least two that might be able to beat We Have a Dream. If it doesn't handle the ground, then We Have a Dream won't be coming anywhere, and those defeats on soft ground do make you worry. This is going to be really bad ground. I like Famous Millie. I don't even remember on Boxing Day, Lizzie Kelly was on ITV. She was talking up the chances of Mercenaire. Then they really like the horse, and obviously they know that it really wants bad ground. I don't quite know what to make of Sussex Ranger, but I know a lot of speed figures boys are all over him, telling him, about how fast he ran in comparison to other horses on the day, and but he's got to prove it on soft ground. But I'll take one of the two, Famous Millie or Mercenaire, probably leaning just towards Mercenaire, and I might lay We Have a Dream for 2 places at a really short price.
OK, thank you.
And before we leave Chepstow,
yes,
if Emperor's Choice gets round in the Welsh National, I mean, does he deserve a round of applause or what? He only ran 7 days ago. Absolute slog through that bog at Haydock, and he's back out.
They can do, though, can't they, Kills? They can do. You kind of feel, well, there's no chance possibly, but we've seen
he should be lying down for a month, shouldn't he?
I know.
They finish so slowly, but there he is, and he's a past winner as well.
So do you think you'll get involved? A little token chip on the table.
The amount of sentimental bets I have, I'll be absolutely broke every single month. But, I think so.
You old softy. We'll look at Sandown next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
OK, it's going to be plenty soft enough at Sandown, but we've got some decent action there. And the highlight of the meeting is the 225. It's the 32 red Tolworth Novices Hurdle, a race obviously that down the years has thrown up some really decent animals. And there's some good horses in this, and no mistake. Frank, take us through Paddy Power's latest betting.
Yeah, Western Rider 6-4, Kalashnikov 2-1, Montes Avaloir 13-2, Sussex Ranger 7-1, Somerville Boy and the Russian Diane are both 14-1.
And of course we expect Sussex Ranger to go to Chepstow, so there's likely to be 5 runners here and a bit of a shuffle in the morning. But as things stand, DJ, who do you think will win this?
Oh, this is, to me, this was over early on in the week. I think Western Rider is as solid a favourite as you're ever going to get. And I just go to that Supreme Novice Hurdle market, and I just can't make head nor tail of it.
It's amazing, isn't it? I was saying this to someone the other day. You've normally got a few horses coming into it that, you know, it's begun to take shape. Here we are in January, and it's all up in the air, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Frank Hickey is obviously the most revered British odds compiler in Paddy Power's office. And I want him to explain to me why on earth is Clayman Taken Forgan 8-1 favourite for the Supreme Novice Hurdle and Western Rider is 20-1. He finished ahead of him at Aintree behind Lawler in the Aintree bumper. He was just behind him at Cheltenham when 5th to Fayonnet. He's come out since and he's won arguably the hottest novice hurdle of the season so far at Cheltenham when he beat Lawler and Somerville Boy. And he absolutely, as regards for the Tolworth tomorrow, he's assured on heavy ground. He won a heavy ground at Chepstow. You know, he's won on, like he's got form on soft ground in his bumper days. And I thought when the going got tough at Cheltenham the last time, I thought his jump was brilliant. He absolutely flew the last under Richard Johnson. He won going away, going up the hill. To me, he's the best novice hurdler I've seen so far. Maybe not as good as Apple Shakira in the 4-year-old division, but he's as good as I've seen as a novice hurdler. I think he could win the Supreme, and I don't think he'll be 20-1 after the Tolworth tomorrow.
OK, Frank, what have you got to say for yourself then? DJ thinks you made a massive rick here on the Supreme.
I'd lay the 20-1 myself, to be honest.
Why?
You're going to get this.
He beat Lawler, right? Lawler, yeah, he won the Aintree bumper. Beaten an extra, given a bad ride. Beaten by Mr. One More. By, what was it?
But Clayman Taken Forgan is favourite.
Yeah, it's in his favourite on the basis that he's probably trained by Nicky Henderson's a tremendous record in the race. He's finished ahead of him in the champion bumper, third. Obviously, as we know, placed horse in the champion bumper actually have quite a good record in the Supreme. He's won his
behind him at Aintree.
Relatively impressive. Pardon? What happened?
He was behind him at Aintree.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was ahead of him at Cheltenham. Where's the Supreme ran, Dave?
Yeah, but there was only half a length behind him at Cheltenham.
Yeah. I'm not saying the Supreme market is a solid market. It's really much crying out for one horse to take it by the throat, really. But I'll tell you this: it's not Western Rider who's the horse is going to be taking that Supreme. I can guarantee that.
Okay, Frank. So what's going? Shut up, DJ. Shut up.
Just one more thing before you go on, right?
God, what?
Clayman Taken Forgan is 8-1 favourite. If the cap fits, is second favourite at 10-1, and Western Rider finished in front of both of those at Aintree.
Go on, DJ. Frank, humour him with an answer.
But it's not a flat race. It's jumping. Like he's won at Chepstow when he looked in trouble against Bang On Frankie, who's bang on average. He unseated Stratford. He's won at Cheltenham. Granted, if you tell me that's the best 2-mile novice race run all year, that is far from it. I'd say you've got a right good bunch of handicappers in there and nothing more.
Well, here's the point, lads. Given what they've all achieved in this race, according to Racing Post ratings, if Sussex Ranger was running at the weights, Racing Post ratings would have him £8 clear. Yeah, no, £12 clear. £12 clear.
It's a particularly bad year in the Supreme. Everyone's looking at it going, what can you find? Now I can see David makes a point about the bumper form for Western Rider. Do you think he's probably a bit big? Potentially he is a bit big at 20s. Would I back him for the Supreme? No.
Okay, so Frank, tell us what's going to happen tomorrow then.
Look, he's favourite and justifiably so. I have always had a soft spot for Kalashnikov. I've put him up a few times. We don't know how good he is. He could get outclassed here tomorrow. But until he gets beaten, I'm willing to follow him until he gets beaten. He's impressive in his bumper. He's been extremely impressive twice. Albeit he hasn't run on ground this heavy, but he did win at Weatherby on very soft ground first time out over hurdles. Now, again, that wasn't a very strong race, but he's won by 10 lengths. He beat Irish Prophecy 10 lengths at Doncaster. That horse let the form down a bit at Kempton, but he was badly hampered 3 out, so it's very difficult to gauge exactly how much, where Irish Prophecy fits in. But until he gets beaten, I'm going to follow him in, and I'm going to back him tomorrow.
Okay, and Keels, what do you think?
I think it's between those two, to be honest. I haven't really got much right. I don't think Kalashnikov will have any problems with the ground, and I think he might actually be favourite with a more well-known, high-profile trainer as well. I think he's a very nice horse. I do like Western Rider as a horse. I think he's tough and game. Whether he's got the class to win the Supreme's another matter altogether. But I like the pair of them. I'd be leaning towards Kalashnikov, but not with any great confidence.
And if I gave you a free £20 bet on the Supreme now, Keels, who would you back? tough, isn't it?
I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
Wouldn't have the faintest idea. Okay, in that case, let's move on to the 3:35 at Sandown.
3 o'clock.
Oh, sorry, the 3 o'clock. You haven't done that, of course. We can't not do that.
True highlight.
This is Kills' race of the year so far, isn't it? Of course, it's the 32 Red Veterans Handicap Chase. It's the final of the 2017 Veterans Chase Series. And by the way, whoever came up with veterans races all those years ago, well done. It's a fantastic innovation. Got really good race here. Kills has backed at least all the field at least 5 times throughout their careers.
Yeah, and some.
And he's going to go first, but before he does, Frank's going to give us the betting.
Yeah, Gasline Boy is our favourite of 4-1. Perfect Candidate and Ben Benz are both 7-1. Third Intention, Double Ross, Ublon des Above, Pete the Feet and Cloudy 2 are 10-1. Boywise 14-1 and we're 16-1, Baron.
Kills, I bet you'd love to be in the paddock and give them all a nice pat, wouldn't you, first?
Well, I won't be able to give them a nice pat, but I am intending to be tomorrow. Yeah, I just can't wait. I love these horses. Isn't it great that these horses can run with 60 grand?
Yeah, superb.
Like, against each other without some 7-year-old coming in with £25 in hand. It's wonderful. I love the race. And it's seriously competitive. And of course, I've got loads of old favourites in the race too. The one I came down on the side of in the weekend earlier in the week was Cloudy 2. He was 5th in the race last year. He's hugely better off with the 4 who finished ahead of him, who were Peter Feet was the winner last year. And I thought he ran well enough. I know he got beat 30 lengths in the end by Chaser Spud at Haydock and that. But, you know, Chaser Spud is one of the favourites for the Welsh National now. The second one next time, and the 4th ran really well next time. So I don't think it's that bad form. And it just looks to me like, given the way he's dropped down the weights, he's just been primed for this because it's a massive prize to go for. He's got a bit of back class. He's won a Peter Marsh chase. So I think he'd go well. I will be having a couple of quid on my old fav Houblon des Above. I
was going to say, yeah.
Who is now coming here instead of going for the Welsh National because he was in both and he would have run in the Welsh National a couple of weeks ago. Slight issue with him is that he does virtually all of his winning in smaller fields. The times that he's run really good races, he was third in the Welsh National last year, tends to be on a wide open course when he can get a good look at the fences because he's only small. But he does love heavy ground, and if he can get into a rhythm, I can see him going well as well. Can't argue with Gasline Boy being favourite. It's very rare that you get a 12-year-old that's running the best races of his life now, as he is, and he has on his last 2 starts.
And if you could give one of these horses a polo mint and a carrot as a way of thanks for all the faves he's done you down the years, who would it be, Kills?
I would have to say it'd be Houblon.
Houblon,
yeah.
Excellent. Kills is all misty-eyed because he loves these old beasts. DJ, are you a fan of the old vets?
Kind of, not really. I wouldn't be going on the way you are going on about them, but yeah, they're grand. The funny thing is, I was going through this race during the week, and I actually got a bit of a shock, and I don't know if listeners will, when you actually say there's 61,900 to the winner. I kind of just presumed it'd be 20 grand, 30 grand, but that's a hell of a prize for these horses. And now it kind of makes sense. I'm sorry, Paul, but I fancy Cloudy too, because it actually makes sense, because you go through his last couple of runs and it just looks like everything has been geared at this. The last time at Haydock, when he was third to Chase the Spud, it really looked like a horse that was just getting cherry ripe for an event. It was the same, like he started off over hurdles at Uttoxeter in October. I think he's dropped down to quite an interesting mark. You know, he's rated, what is he now, 129? Like, go back not that long ago, he was up to 140 in this race last year when he was 5th. And he was beating 14 lengths that day, but he made a really bad mistake at the last. He was really awkward and he kind of jumped it out to his right. Yeah, and he kind of tired up the hill. Yeah, he kind of tired up the hill after that. He's really well handicapped. And when I saw the winner's purse, it all makes sense. I'd say Cloudy 2 has been aimed for this for a long time.
Can't believe how callous you are to all these old warriors, DJ. How come they don't tug at your heartstrings like they do ours?
Well, I think it's more an Irish versus British thing. Like when many Clouds died, I was disappointed, but I wasn't devastated. And the same with Nichols Canyon. They're horses, they're animals, they're not people. And I suppose you do get an affection for them, but I don't fall in love with them.
Fair enough. Miserable bastard. Frank, who's going to win the vets?
Would you believe it's a full house, while obviously I have a soft spot for Gasline Boy, I think Cloudy 2 is just too well treated to ignore here. He's £11 lower than last year, when he wasn't disgraced in 5th, and I think he can go well, and it's a decent price of 10-1. I think you can back him each way. You should get involved at least. Okay, 3 votes for Cloudy 2 in the 3 o'clock. Let's do the 3:35, which is also on ITV4. It's the 32red.com handicap hurdle, 2 miles on the heavy. Call Me Lord
for Nicky Henderson is the Jolly, Frank?
Yeah, he's 3-1. Our Merlin and Clayton are both 9-2. Hurricane Hollow 7-1. Ravens Tower 8-1. Drop the Jupiter 10-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
Are you with the sponsors tomorrow, Kills?
No, I'm not, mate. No,
You're just wandering around,
with a couple of mates, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so by the time we get to 3:35, you should be a few
I'll be in the
pints
Guinness
in.
bar, yeah, I'll be pouring it down there.
And hopefully, Cloudy 2 will have won you a sack of money and you'll be able to press up here.
Exactly,
so who's it going to be on?
A massive press-up race. Well, I put up gas in golf in the weekend. I didn't realise the ground was going to be as heavy as it is. I still think he can run well. He's run well in 2 Imperial Cups round here. He's been placed in a couple. He ran no sort of race last time at Ayr, but he almost certainly needed it, like a lot of Kerry Lees did. I think he can go well, but the more I look at it, the more I keep coming back to this Our Merlin, who he's won his last 3 for Robert Walford. I mean, he started on a handicap mark of 86. The last time he won off 100. But I think he's won by an aggregate of 50-odd lengths, and he's just cantering clear. He's 123 tomorrow. But
he's the new To Be Fair or Hump Ball, is he?
He's booked John Joe O'Neill to take 7 off that. He'd have still won doing handstands if he was £16 higher last time. And I just wonder if he is just miles ahead of his mark.
Our Merlin for Kills. Who for you, Frankie?
I'm going to stick with gas and golf. He's a very good Sandown record. Brian Hughes is booked. Obviously, he needed the Ayr race. He didn't run too, there wasn't devoid of promise. He was there until about the 3rd last and then just stopped, which suggests he needs to run badly. Like, if you think about it, he's been placed in 2 Imperial Cups off a mark of 1-2-1 the first time and 1-32. He's here off 1-2-2 again. It's a very good mark with Brian Hughes booked. He should handle the ground. I think he'll go well. He's a decent price at 12-1, and he's still only 9. He's not like he's ancient. I think he can go well at the price.
Who do you think will win, David Jennings?
I actually thought the favourite would win, Bruce. Call me Lord. He was 9-2 and 5-1 earlier on in the week. He's 3s with powers now. He's the type of horse I thought might even be a bit shorter. And I think he loved the ground. He won on heavy ground at Compiègne when he was in France. James Racou rode him. And the form of his Sandown win from the end of year meeting has worked out really well. Dallas was 2nd and Fiddux was 3rd. It was a proper handicap hurdle. And you can kind of forget his return at Huntington. It was on quick enough ground in the middle of November. He was really keen. And he never got a clear run. It was really funny on the home turn. He was badly hampered just before the home turn and made a mistake at the 3rd last. And nothing really went right. I still think he went off odds on that day, off 143. I still think he's well handicapped. He obviously likes Sandown. And I think he likes the ground as well. So I'm going to give a pretty confident vote to Call Me Lord.
OK, on Monday we asked who won the previous Friday's Ryanair hurdle at Leopardstown. The answer was Mick Jazz. And well done to Brendan from London, who tweeted using the hashtag Postcast, and he wins the £25 free bet from Paddy Power. There'll be another chance to win another free bet in Monday's show. Let's look at Wincanton now. The 240 there is the smarkets.com handicap chase. Small fields on very heavy going. And Frank, how did Paddy Power bet here?
Yeah, Antarctica the Thai is 6-4, Play the 8s, 11-4, Omain Leaf, 5-1, Cape Adventure, 6-1, or 12-1 bar.
And we'll stick with you, Frank, for the winner.
There's a couple here, I think Pressurize and maybe Play the 8s, potentially Pepsto. So, yeah, it's not really original. I might just chance Antarctica the Thai should handle the ground. She does have to concede weight all round, but with 2 horses in the betting here that we don't even think are going to run, it's a bit of a mess. I wouldn't really be getting too carried away at the race, but if I had to put up one, I'd put up the Fav.
Who would you put up, Kills?
Yeah, exactly the same. Fav. Yeah, ran well enough. I mean, obviously, the thing that beat her last time fell in the Feltham and just didn't jump well at all there. But I mean, it was giving weight to a good horse there. So I just think it's probably the best horse in the race. There's only going to be 4 runners, isn't there? So we'll leave it at that.
Geno?
I fancy nothing, Bruce.
Nothing. OK, 3:15 at Wincanton. It's the Smarkets chase. Give us a show, Frank.
Yeah, Bill and Barn 9-4, Silverhow 11-4, Ward 7-2, Le Basilio 4-1, and Holbrook Park 8-1.
Have you had a look at this one, David?
I thought Bill and Barn would probably win for Nichols and Cobden. It's 7-year-old, improving nicely. I know it dead heated last time, and but I thought it did well to dead heat. It really knuckled down, and it's less exposed than most of these. And yeah, look, it's not a great race. I thought it'd probably win.
What's up with DJ? Didn't sound his old self today, does he? Eve hasn't given you the old bullet, has she, DJ?
No, I see. I was quite excited earlier about Western Rider, and you told me to shut up, so I was kind of.
We did go on for 3/4 of an hour.
Nice. I don't know how Nicky Campbell handles it and all these callers on his morning show rucking away at each other. Did my best. Kills, who do you like?
Yeah, Bill and Barney is a certainty. If he jumps, basically, he had 3 runs for Paul Nichols over hurdles. Was trained as a pointer by Jack Barber. Beat a horse called Swinkum Scorchio. Very easily in a point. Swinkum Scorchio was rated 128 over fences last spring. Bill and Barn gets in here, first time in a chase of 126.
Who do you think will win, Frank?
Making a hat-trick. Bill and Barn, he showed a lot more the last day at Chepstow, dead heating with Radgar. I think there's plenty of scope for him to improve past the 126. As I said, Paul said there, he won a point-to-point. He should have actually improved over fence. So there's plenty of doubts about the rest of him, and you'd be hopeful that he can win that. I think he'd probably go off a bit shorter as well than what he is now at 94.
Lovely stuff. Okay, well, it's roundup time, and being the superb motivator I am, DJ, as you're the greatest judge out of the 3 guys on the panel today, you can go first, my friend.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Okay, we'll start off with Wincanton in the 3:45. I fancy Mon Palace for Kim Bailey, who I think has had 3 winners from his last 8 runners, so stable and really good form. And I thought Mon Palace off a mark of 126 in that 3:45, I thought was potentially well handicapped. Moving to Cork, obviously it's a decent enough weekend in Ireland with the Grade 1 on Sunday, but on Cork. At Cork on Saturday, I thought I'm going to give Bluegrass Princess one last chance. I really fancied this horse over Christmas in a race in Limerick, and I told everybody about it. I said, Bluegrass Princess, heavy ground Limerick. Went off out in front, jumped the first hurdle, and then the rider completely lost his reins and lost his tack and everything, and he went out onto the wrong course, and that was the end of that after 1 hurdle. So that was pretty embarrassing. But I think Bluegrass Princess in the 12:20 at Cork, and 2 other ones I like at Cork in the 1:55, an old friend of Frank's. Westerner Point is back over hurdles on his beloved heavy ground. I think he'll take a hell of a lot beating in the 1:55 at Cork. And I'm going to give Midnight Escape one last chance in the 2:30 at Cork. It's a decent enough beginner's chase with some good horses in it. But I thought he jumped brilliantly first time out at Galway. He's lost a bit of confidence, but this is an easier assignment than he's been given recently. So in the 2:30 Midnight Escape. So the 3 from Cork, 12:20 Bluegrass Princess, 1:55 Westerner Point, and the 2:30 Midnight Escape.
Beautifully done, David. Thank you. Keels, who's in your roundup?
Yeah, we're going to start with Chepstow in the 2:45. A horse of one great tricks is called Chef d'Oeuvre. If you look at his last run last time over fences when he pulled up, you think he's going to be the rank outsider of the lot here, but he's won 4 times out of 5 on heavy ground. The only time he got beat was in a grade 2 on trials day by Yamworth, and I don't know whether he's had a breathing up or not. He stopped really, really quickly at Lingfield, right? But he's very, very well handicapped, and he's much better than his mark if he comes back to his best. Trainers in flying form, and I like the heavy ground angle and the fact that he's going back over hurdles, and he might be a price. Basically, we go to the 1:20 at Sandown. Theo's Charmer, some very interesting chase form against the likes of Theme Val. And one other whose name I can't remember now, but it just makes him look very well handicapped off the mark he is. He was brought down in a much better race than this very early on. I think it was the first at Ascot last time, and he was joint favourite at the time.
Sam Spinner?
Yes, sorry, he was third to Sam Spinner over in the, what was the old fixed brush hurdle race before that, got beat 22 lengths. That's a long way to get beaten, but I mean, Sam Spinner's won a Grade 1 hurdle since, isn't he? And he's a proper Grade 1 horse. So I like that. The 1:50 will be down to 4 runners because Rock and Rocky is going to Chepstow. We've got Gino Trail and Speradek. Both of them like to go from the front. Gino Trail, you very rarely see a horse jump as fluently as he does, but whenever he's gone right-handed, he has gone left. I think they might just set it up for Pearl's Legend. If he bounces back, he'd probably be the outsider of the 4.
One of G-Rod's favourites, Pearl's Legend.
Yeah, and he goes well. He goes well round there as well. So he's got no weight compared to the others.
Okay, that it?
Yep.
Lovely stuff. And Frank, over to you.
Yeah, in contrast to Supreme, where myself and David didn't see eye to eye, in Cork we do see eye to eye on Westerner Point. I think returned to hurdles off the mark of 117, and he's only £3 higher than when touched off a Clonmel over 3 miles when False and Blue nabbed him on the line. He was put in context, he was running in the beach off 134, so he's a full £17 lower here. He will take an awful lot of beating. In Kempton, the 6:15, the novice stakes over 7 furlongs. This probably won't be much of a price, depending on how the Godolphin newcomer goes. But promising, still a maiden, but Sorry, I'll just make sure I have the name right. She was third in the Fred Darling last year behind Daba and Urban Fox. As a 2-year-old, she was second in the Prestige Stakes at Goodwood, beating the neck. She's in the maiden here. Like, they're obviously bringing her back. She must be showing a fair
I actually backed her for the 1,000 guineas 2 years ago.
Yeah, like it's not like her Fred, like even Fred Darling form is quite good. Like, she should really be winning this maiden. And you know yourself, at this time of the year, these Godolphin newcomers can get well backed. And if that happens, you might actually get a bit of a price about this promising. Like, if she repeats, her 4 runs have all been really solid. Like, she was touched off in a really good Goodwood maiden by Perfect Angel, who's about high 90s, not 100 horse. Beating a Newbury next time by half a length in a decent Newbury maiden, beating in a Group 3 at Goodwood and beating 2 lengths in a Grade 3 at Newbury. Like, if she can run anywhere near that, she should be a good thing. In the 245 at Chepstow, Court Frontier has his third start for Christian Williams. 2 runs to date have been on better ground, but he definitely prefers a fair bit of dig, which he's bound to get at Chepstow tomorrow. Last year, off this mark over fences, he won by 14 lengths at Huntingdon. He's definitely well handicapped off 123. I think he looks sure to go well, and he'd probably be need to pay price. James Bowen, who's a brilliant claimer, takes 5 off as well, but it's only a bonus. And the 320 at Chepstow, Venetia Williams has won this race 4 times in the last 5 years. Her yard are in decent nick as well at the moment. 4 winners in the past 2 weeks from 15 runners. This horse, even though it's a 12-year-old, it's only actually run 9 times ever, so it's very lightly raced. It's obviously had a fair few issues, but it's won here before off a mark of 128 on heavy ground. It's only rated 129 here. I assume they're bringing back it with all the problems it's had, and the fact they're bringing it back as a 12-year-old, they must think there's another win in it, and they obviously going to have it fairly straight as well. The horse is 3 out of 5 on heavy ground. He will be a price. He'll probably be the 5th favourite. I think there's only 7 running. He could be 5th or 6th favourite, but I'd be willing to give him a go based on Venetia's record and the yard starting to hit form.
Lovely stuff. Take it away, Steve Palmer.
This will not be beaten.
Kills, this will not be beaten, will it? Which one?
No, Vets Race, 3 o'clock Sandown, Cloudy 2.
Each way or all up to win?
Each way, because it'll be in a frame. A couple of firms will be going 4 places, won't they?
Lovely stuff. David Jennings, who's your nap?
I can guarantee that Western Rider will win the 225 at Sandown, and I'm hoping that he will follow up in the Supreme Novice Hurdle at 20-1 with Paddy Power.
Okay, and Frank, what about you?
Western Rider not to win the Supreme. Can that be my nap?
Leave it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
No. I'll put up Mystery in the Welsh National.
Okay, there's some good prices there. Let's look at Sunday next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds, conditions and exclusions apply. 18+, BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and we've got Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Frank Hickey. Looking ahead to Sunday's action, again, it's all on the heavy. Let's start with the really high-quality race at 1:45 at Naas. It's the Lawlers of Naas Novice Hurdle. What do Lawlers of Naas do, David? Are they a car dealership?
No, it's a hotel.
Hotel.
Middle, right smack bang in the middle of Naas, yeah.
Okay, righty-ho. And we've got a very, very classy animal heading the betting in the form of Next Destination. How short, Frank?
4-9 at the moment. Speakeasy is 6-1. Cracking Smart 8-1. Athenian 14-1. Duke de Genevieve 20-1 and 25-1 Baron.
DJ, at the start of the week, we were expecting this to be a race that featured the latest chapter in what could be the exceptional career of Sam Crow. He's scoped badly though, so he's not running. But Next Destination has really looked decent. Are you a believer in him?
Yeah, he'll probably win, Bruce. He's very, very short. I think it's a better race than the betting gives it credit for. He was very good at Naas when he beat Sunday by 13 lengths. That looked a decent maiden hurdle, and obviously there was some bubbles burst that day. Paloma Blue has since come out and won it at Leopardstown. So the form is quite strong. He beat Cracking Smart in a Grade 2 at Navan convincingly. He's just a powerhouse of a horse. Maybe he's just not the type that you want to get stuck into at 4-9. But again, he's the most likely winner. A couple of things to note here. Speakeasy won his maiden hurdle at Navan quite impressively by 6 lengths. He wasn't fancied at all whatsoever that day. They thought he was a really nice horse, but they thought that there was no way he was fit enough to do himself justice. That was only supposed to be a spin. He was so good that he managed to win by 6 lengths, and it wasn't the worst maiden hurl in the world. Riders on the Storm, who finished, I think, 5th that day, has come out and just been beaten in a maiden hurdle at Limerick. So the form of that race is quite well. And then there's some really big prices here. There's 8 runners. If the 8 runners stay in, like Blow by Blow is 25-1. Like, he was really disappointing when he won at Navan at 1-3. He just about got up on the line. But you go back through his form, he won a Navan bumper on heavy ground when he beat Jet. He beat Jet Debt Duty in a Fairyhouse bumper. And then he won the Punchestown Grade 1 bumper where he beat Moonracer and a load of other really good horses like Bacardi's, Avenir Denby, Presenting Percy, Cur Blimey. Like, that's like, he mightn't be as good as he was. And since he picked up that injury, he might have lost all his zest. But I still think 25-1 is too big of a price. And I just wonder, like, Jack Kennedy rode Cracking Smart the last twice. He rode him against Next Destination in Navan, and now he's on Blow by Blow. I'd imagine that Jack would have the choice. I don't know now, but he's ridden both horses this season on every occasion. So I don't see how Davy Russell would be put on one that's more fancy than the other. And for that reason, and his back form and bumpers and blinkers on for the first time, I'm just going to take a chance each way on Blow by Blow at 25.
David, having heard that, I'm absolutely compelled to have a little fiver each way on Blow by Blow as long as the 8 all run. Frank, what's your view of this race?
Yeah, like, the Next Destination's been really impressive, but like, as in that Nace race kind of fell apart in that I don't think some days as good as we probably thought he was. Paloma Blue jumped appallingly on the day, and Palisator didn't really run up to expectations either. So you can probably get a little bit carried away. And then at Navan, the last day, it was billed as a match between Next Destination and Cracking Smart. And if you watch the race, it's evident that Cracking Smart just needs 3 miles. He got completely outpaced from like about the last third lane, and then just stayed on when the race is all over. He'd be much better at 3 miles. I agree. Like, I can see David's point with Blow by Blow. Jack Kennedy, I would say, definitely has the choice between the two. So you could see then maybe Blow by Blow will shorten from 25-1. The blinkers are interesting. It's probably, like, there's a good chance he might be keeping a bit back for himself. If they bring out a bit of improvement, he could get involved. But I'd be willing to give Speakeasy a chance each way here. While Next Destination might be tough to beat, the Speakeasy, as David said earlier, wasn't fancied at all in the market. I think we put him in, I can't remember exactly, but it might have been about 7-2 or 4-1 in the morning, and he just drifted. And you're like, this is obviously, out for a couple of spins, and we'll see this in the handicap maybe in 6 or 9 months' time. But Jesus, the way it won was extremely impressive. And you'd imagine, just stepping up the Grade 1 company straight away. But if it improves at all from that, bound to have a right chance. And 6-1 is a very fair each way price, I think.
Keels, do you have Next Destination down as a potential Cheltenham Festival winner?
He's certainly got chances, hasn't he? He was 4th in the champion bumper, wasn't he? He's been there before and axed there. The problem with a lot of these races you get in Ireland and in Britain these days, when you're in heavy ground, you get small fields. It doesn't really tell you about that much about their chances of running at a much faster pace on faster ground at Cheltenham. But he does look very, very good. So did Speakeasy in a maiden. And now I might have a couple of quid each way in this race on Jets, the complete rag. I just think he's a horse that improves with every run. He needs to improve a lot more. He was a length and 3/4 behind Cracking Smart in 3rd to Next Destination last time. But he has improved his RPR every single time he's run. He's very closely related to Jeski. I know Jessica Harrington's form isn't the greatest, is it? But I just think 33-1 I might nick a place with him.
Fair enough. Anything else at Nace for you, David?
Yeah, there is, Bruce. In the 325, Brosna George, trained by Ross O'Sullivan, ridden by the boy wonder, Donny McInerney. I thought Rachel Blackmore's had an absolute cracking couple of years, but it's very rare Rachel gives one a bad ride, but she gave this a horror bad ride, I thought, in Fairyhouse before Christmas. Was favoured that day off a mark 96. Was beaten 6 lengths, but it got into all sorts of trouble. And I think Brosnan George is well handicapped off 96 in the 325. And in the 215, I'd be willing to give People's Park another chance. And this is dodgy because it's owned by JP, and it could have a long-term aim, and it's got top weight in this race. But by God, he's the best horse in the race by a considerable margin. Like, this horse was rated 130. He's a very, very good horse, and he won, I think, the big handicap chase at Fairyhouse last year. He's back down to mark of 126. Again, Donny McInerney is riding this as well. He takes off £5. It's not a good race, and he's the best horse in it. He likes Nace. I'm going to give People's Park a chance at the 215.
David, there's one thing I want you to do in 2018, and that's keep a record of your loyalty bets, because you are one of these really loyal punters, aren't you? We remember old Kit and Rock and all that. You follow them off a cliff, don't you? Do you think your record when you do that is actually good, or is it one of those things where you just couldn't bear to see him win if you haven't backed him having lumped on the time before?
Yeah, the only thing is, though, it's like, you know, when you get a nickname when you're really young and it sticks with you for the rest of your life. I used to be like that about 3 years ago, and I've kind of got much better and just given up on horses really quickly, but my reputation has stayed. So I don't think I'm quite as bad as I was.
OK, fair enough. Dave, I don't know, Frank, who have you got for us at Nace?
I've nothing else at Nace, Bruce.
OK, mate. Keels, let's go to England then. They're racing at Plumpton and Newcastle. Let's hope the skies stay dry enough for those meetings to take place. And if they do, who should we be backing?
Yeah, just the one. 235 Plumpton. It's a Sussex Nash.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm absolutely convinced that Sussex trainer Gary Moore has laid Leo Luna out for the race. Came back from a year off, ran an excellent third, I thought, on heavy ground at Fontwell to get on the Jaeger, who won the Roland Merrick just a few days ago. That was a good start after a year off. He got dropped £2 for it, which now puts him £17 lower than he was at his peak. He's still only 9 years old. Wouldn't be surprised me if he retains all his ability and he'd take the world to beat him.
Splendid stuff. OK, Kills, weekend plans.
Weekend plans, go stand out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And recovering Sunday.
Will you be driving?
No.
No, there's no need. So you live quite locally, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
OK, and DJ, what are you doing? How are the wedding preparations coming along? You still haven't sent the invites out, have you?
Yeah, we've the venue booked, we've the band provisionally booked, we've the church booked, yeah, no, it's all going according to plan. It's just getting the wedding list down from about 517 down to 226. That's the problem. Is 226
the capacity? The safety limit?
That is the absolute capacity, and I pleaded with you when I said, if it's 250, would that be all right? No, 226. It's uncomfortable if there's any more than that.
226? That must be costing you an arm and a leg, isn't it?
I don't know. 226
yeah, 2 arms,
people.
2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet. Yeah, 2 arms. It's costing me everything, really.
Yeah, that is a lot of people, you know, isn't it? How many of those would be blood relatives?
Well, actually, it's funny. Aoife's mum is one of 17 children.
Oh, that explains it then, doesn't it?
Could you imagine that? She just spent her whole life pregnant.
Sorry, Aoife's gran had 17 children.
And she's still alive, yeah.
That's absolutely unbelievable, isn't it?
My dad was one of 11.
Where does Aoife's mum fit in the sequence?
Oh, God, and the funny thing is, all the girls kind of look alike. So Aoife's mum is looks very like all of her sisters. So I don't know if every single one of them and their husbands and kids are going to the wedding, but there's going to be serious rows now in the lead up to that. But I think you're still there. I think you're hanging on.
Am I? Well, listen, honestly, David, I totally understand with those sort of numbers. Are Kills and Frank invited? I can't believe they are.
We'll talk about that afterwards, Bruce.
OK, that's a no. And so are you working over the weekend, DJ?
I'm working, yeah, I am, yeah.
You are? OK, and Frank, what about you? Grafting or socialising?
No, we've now dinner with the in-laws tonight, and then it's working for the weekend.
Lovely stuff. OK, chaps, thank you very much. Exciting news. On Tuesday, we're kicking off a series of Cheltenham anti-post postcasts, and Maddie's going to be hosting that, and we're going to be looking at the champion hurdle. We've got Tom Siegel and various others, so do join us for that. We've obviously also got the Monday review postcast. We'll be back next Friday. Thank you very much for listening, and don't forget, if you do enjoy listening to the postcasts, please rate, review and subscribe on iTunes.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.